What's up, everybody? You're watching Jim Bird TV, and I am your humble host, Jackson. Thank you for tuning in. Now, I'm going to keep this intro short, but I'm really excited to get started in this. I'm playing one of my favorite games, Empire Total War. Now, I love Empire. I've played it since I was a kid. I've got a lot of hours in this game, but this is going to be new because, as you can see, we are playing Empire 2, the massive overhaul mod. Now, I've jumped in the game, felt around a little bit to get a feel for the mod, but I haven't played a proper campaign yet. This is going to be my first run trying a proper grand campaign in this mod, and I'm really excited. We're going to see how it goes. Now, starting this campaign, I wanted to give myself a good balance of challenge and potential. Like I said, I have a lot of experience in Empire. I've done multiple world domination runs, so I didn't want to give myself an easy path to victory, but I also didn't want to start at the very bottom of the totem pole. Now, as you've probably already noticed from the title and the thumbnail, the nation that I've decided to start this campaign with is Portugal. Now, Portugal starts out in kind of a weird situation. Historically, they're kind of on the decline at this point in time, and they're losing out in the global competition to Great Britain, France, and Spain. They're way behind. And not only that, but they're living right in the shadow of those three major powers, so they're super vulnerable. That being said, they're still pretty wealthy considering their small size, and they start the game allies with Great Britain, who is probably the most powerful country in the game. So I think there's a lot of potential for an interesting story to take place over the course of this campaign. And my goal is to bring Portugal back into that conversation and make them a formidable competitor across the globe. Now let's take a look at Portugal's starting position. Starting out, we've got two cities, Lisbon and Goa. Now, Lisbon is a pretty prosperous capital city. Up here in the north, we have a vineyard that's high yield and a trade port that we can expand on. In the south, we have a low yield farm and we have our school. Also important to point out is we have these two growing villages. In the region, there's a unified culture and they're bringing in a high tax revenue for us. Now, Lisbon is surrounded by major powers, but we're not immediately threatened thanks to our alliance with the British. Now, Goa, on the other hand, is a tiny colonial holding over here in India. It's got a wide mix of cultures that's giving us some unrest, and the city's not bringing in that much revenue, but it does support our trade income. Goa is also surrounded by a mix of minor and major powers over here in India. Not too far away from us, the Dutch have an operation going on down here too. On top of this, there's a huge distance between Goa and Lisbon. Right now we've got no land access between them, and the only way to get there by sea is by going all the way around Africa because we're about 200 years early for the Suez Canal. And that brings me to our Navy. Now, our Navy is really underdeveloped. We only have a few warships and they're all scattered from each other. A good portion of our fleet right now is actually made up of these trade ships that we have off the Ivory Coast and Brazil. Now, these are important and they're something we're going to utilize heavily in this campaign, but they are vulnerable. And right now, our Navy is not capable of competing with any of the relevant major powers out here. However, we are at least in an alliance with Great Britain, so we won't be having to fight their fleet for the time being. But our Navy isn't our only concern because our Army is pretty small and cheap as well. We basically just have small garrisons in both Lisbon and Goa, not a whole lot of firepower. In fact, a lot of them are pikemen. So right now we're looking pretty vulnerable on land and at sea. That's not a good combination. Now our government's pretty stable, but it could be better. We have a while until an election, and our popularity's not bad. But our king isn't doing us many favors right now with his debuffs. And some of our ministers could be better. But for the time being, I'm not going to rock the boat on that. I'm going to let our government hang out. Now, last thing I want to look at here is a breakdown of our trade. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth on what we're trading right now because it's going to raise some ethical questions. But something I do want to point out is our trade partners, Great Britain and the Mughal Empire. Now, that's important for us because that means we have a very powerful friend in Europe and a very powerful friend in India. And if we didn't have these powerful trade partners, our economy would look a whole lot weaker than it does. Now we're caught up. We know what's going on. Let's start playing the game. Now, I'm just going to
Sim,
go ahead, move our gentleman right in there,
um
because for
lugar
the
de
time being, I
aprendizagem e
just want to get
cultura.
that research boost. While I'm looking at that, I'm going to start researching empiricism here. I want to get this research boost just right away. The earlier we get that, the longer we benefit from it, so it makes sense. Now, next, I am probably going to be going for these land enclosures here. So I want to also start boosting population growth. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade these vineyards because we want to go down that tree because these vineyards give us a boost of population growth. And we want that because we want to get these cities growing as soon as possible. And if we look right now, they are not growing, and we want to do something about that. We're not going to get them growing unless we drop our taxes all the way down, and it's going to take 92 turns even doing that. So I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. We're just going to have to deal with it not growing yet until we can get this farm and these vineyards upgraded. Then we'll be able to cut this number down. And we're going to leave our taxes the same at the beginning because the amount of income that we would gain from raising them isn't worth the public order hit we're going to take. Since we only have two cities, I think it's much more important to keep them both happy. And a good portion of our income comes from our trade anyway. So I don't want to push too hard on the taxes. I do want to immediately upgrade our infrastructure. Now, this
Forma de
fleet we
navio é
have
boa
down
ordem,
here at
capitão.
the Ivory Coast on this trade port, I hate to do it, but we're gonna have to move them this turn because of these pirates right here. They're definitely gonna attack me, and these trade ships just aren't quite gonna be able to put up that much of a fight against these ships they've got down here. So
Para onde, capitão?
we are going to take this fleet and move them to Brazil. Now they're not here yet, but as you can see,
Ordens!
we have this fleet here, and they've got also two trade ships, but they've got a little bit more firepower here. And together, these two fleets will be enough to deter those pirates, at least for the time being. But
Ordens, capitão?
that's why we are going to come over here and invest in this fleet outside of Lisbon, and we'll actually
Ordens do
just
navio
move them into
recebidas!
port here. Let them dock, go on leave for a
Ordens ao
bit,
navio!
visit the countryside, enjoy the wine while we add a full rig and a brig to that. I don't want to go too crazy on it yet, but that's going to be enough for now that we can at least fight off the pirates that we're going to have to deal with. And hopefully we don't pick a fight with anybody bigger than that. We are at war with these fellas down here, the Islamic Emirate, but they are like the pirates, and they're kind of at war with everybody. They're actually a minor nation over here, and as you can see, they're at war with basically everyone except the Ottoman Empire. So I'm not too pressed about them right now. We just have to stay on the lookout, make sure they don't catch us sleeping. Our fleet's outside of Goa
Preparar!
here. thankfully, is on the stronger side as well. But we're going to give them one more full rig. Now, army-wise, I think I'm more vulnerable in India right now than in Portugal. I think it's more likely that I'd have a conflict here. So I don't really want to drop too much on them. I don't really want to drop too much money on my army this turn, but I am going to toss in a couple of musketeers. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and disband these pikemen. If I do get attacked, they're not going to be that useful anyway. I'm going to lose the fight. So I'm going to go ahead and disband them and save the money on upkeep. I'll replace them with a conscripted company and a Portuguese militia for now in Lisbon. Yeah, right now that's going to be the only new additions to our army. And honestly, if I can just hold it there for a while, that'll be great. But we'll see. I'm going to send this rake down to the south.
assegurada.
Get him moving in that direction because I have a plan for him. Okay, diplomatic relations. The first thing I'm going to try to do is get a trade agreement with Spain here. And they will take it. That's fantastic. Love to see it. We're also going to ask France for one, because I would rather be trading with them than not be trading with them if I can be trading with them. And the Marathas down here, because I'm already trading with the Mughals, I definitely want to try to trade with them as well. And they're down. Now that's going to max out my sea trade routes for now until I can get one of my ports upgraded. And that kind of offsets what we lost from the ship that we had to take out of the Ivory Coast. And on that note, there's not anything else that I want to do on this first turn. We're gonna let it roll. France doing the same. Interesting. Yeah, go on. Honestly, the less interesting these CPU moves are in the beginning, the better for us, as far as I'm concerned. And now we have the first turn, all the diplomacy. So, Spain and Bavaria's alliance is broken. Poland and Denmark, alliance broken. Denmark and Russia. Everybody's upset with each other. We got some wars. So France is at war with Savoy, which means also United Provinces is at war with Spain. Okay. Prussia and Poland. Russia and Sweden. Sweden and Denmark. Okay, so some of the classic characters. Okay, so the British and the French are at war. Our fleet has safely arrived. And I'm going to go ahead and put them on this trade post right here. So I'll have enough time, if the pirates do show up in this theater, I'll have enough time to combine these fleets, deal with them. Now we've got 3,000 here. Over here in Goa, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get one more militia unit in here. Yeah, we've got a whole lot of sugar from Brazil. It's not the most expensive commodity on the market. We got ran off by the pirates, but we're gonna be back at the Ivory Coast. With this last 3,000 I've got, I am gonna go ahead and upgrade this Weaver's Cottage. It's going to give us some more wealth, and it's also going to reduce some upkeep costs for naval units. And 7 turns from now, that's going to mean a lot for us, hopefully. On that note, we can go ahead and end this turn. All right, British, they forced them out of the port. They want to be over there. Okay, now things are heating up. We've got a battle. What's gonna happen here? Ooh, wow. Hey. That's my boy. That's the homie right there. Come down here. Come down here. I'll patch up your flag for you. Hey. Go on, bro. Don't even worry about me. Look, we're chilling. We're not even on the boat right now. Not even on the boat. That's fine. That's fine. You can hang out there. All right, we've got a land battle here. Tough. Tough. They're heading on down. They're wearing the hell out of that outfit, though. Nice. Hey, we'll fix your flags, too. Nice. Dude, he's wearing that fit, man. And the beard. Just walking his way. So calm, collected, poised. Nice. And the pirates, smart move. They're going to start taking advantage of those trade ports. Now the 13 colonies in France have broken their alliance. Interesting. Russia and this minor nation over here. We finished both of our full rigs, one outside of Lisbon, one in India. We finished the militia in India. And we've gained some traits. We got a few. Nice. Now this is our... Wow. I didn't even know that was a thing. Nice. Okay, cool. Cool, so this is one of our rakes. I believe this is the rake in India. I'll have to look and see who he is. I gotta get acquainted with these names. So, De Viega and Resende. I believe they're ministers. Yep, Resende, that's our chancellor. Very nice. So he gets a bonus to those. And De Viega, minister for our army. Okay. We've got 7 more turns until an election. Pedro II. We're living with him. We're living with him. Now our trade income has taken a major hit because some trade routes are getting cut off. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about that because I have to go to war. It's probably the British. Yeah, the British are blockading the French right here. That's blocking off our trade with them. Yeah, somebody's blocking some of my trade to the British as well, apparently. I don't know where that's happening, but it's okay. We're still going to be in the green. Now I'm going to come over here to Lisbon, and I'm actually going to disband these cannons as well. And I'm going to do the same with these cannons in India. And there's a reason we're doing that. Now, early expansion through land wars wasn't exactly part of my plan, but over here in India,
Ninguém irá suspeitar.
if we bring our rake over here, right now we're neighboring this minor nation, Mysore. I'm not sure how you say it. We're going to call him Mysore. Now, they've got this small army here. Their general, Japrit Yadamredi. And, of course, they've got a garrison with it as well. I'm not sure how it's stacked up. They've got this army right here, which they've got some horsemen and some dervishes. These are melee infantry. these are melee infantry. I don't think we're that far from being able to put together enough of a force. We can take these guys on easily, basically annihilate them out here at this farm, and maybe draw out this army and face them outside of the city as well. If we can do that, this territory here is incredibly valuable. There's the capital city, there's the school right here. That's going to give us an extra research slot. We've got the craft workshops here. They've got a gem minefield, a gold minefield, and a tea plantation. This would basically double our domestic economy. They also have this farm, of course, and they have this growing harbor village that's going to be a valuable trade port and greatly expand our ability to trade via the sea, because there's still quite a few people out there that would trade with us, but they can't because we don't have enough slots in our ports. And thinking of that, I'm actually kind of regretting choosing to trade with some of these major powers early on, because yeah, it helps with our relations with them, but right now I'm not benefiting from my trade, most of my trade with Great Britain and France, because they're fighting each other and cutting off the trade. So it's nice that I'm not at war with them, but it's fair to point out that we could possibly be making more money right now per turn at this stage if I had chosen to pursue trade relationships with, like, say, Genoa, who's very friendly with us, or the Papal State. They are actually very friendly. Genoa is only friendly, but still, either way, they would have accepted trade routes. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's okay, because once this conflict sizzles out, hopefully it will soon, regardless of who wins, once trade normalizes again, it's still going to be very valuable to have those trade relationships. So before I invest any more in our navy, we are going to throw out 2 more units of Hindu musketeers and 1 unit of provincial cavalry. Our trade fleets are still unbothered over here in Brazil. These trade routes, very lucrative for us, and will be even more lucrative when the British and the French cut it out and get along, for at least a little while. Now, even though we took the hit on our trade income, our total income hasn't dropped that much, but we still want to be seeing this go up pretty soon. But now I think I've had enough of the winter of 1690, and we are going to end this turn. Gosh, I wish I could just mediate peace talks between them and bring an end to this fighting so that the sugar can flow again. Uh-oh. Okay. Not surprised, but I am disappointed in the Maratha Confederacy. Tarabai the First. You are mighty, you are rich, but you are foolish, my good lady. So this is gonna change our policy in India. We're gonna have to play this kind of the way I was expecting to, and that is very, very defensively on land. Now, I'm not gonna call Great Britain into this war, and there's a couple reasons for that. For one, they're so far away, it would take them a while to get here and help me in the first place. Two, I don't want them to divert resources to me and compromise themselves with the French. I don't want the British to lose that war, and I also don't want that war to be prolonged. And if the British send an army to help me, which they probably wouldn't, but if they did, that's going to leave them more vulnerable to the French, and that's not necessarily good for me. So I'm not going to call them to help, and we are going to see how we can handle this ourselves. War has come. War has come. Now, they didn't attack me right away. That's very good for us. Now, the Mughal Empire, would like a military alliance and military access. Now, now this could be valuable for us, but they're already at war with the Maratha Confederacy anyway. So having them as an ally doesn't really add any value to our current situation. We're already getting as much out of them as we could. Now, that being said, if they're willing to pay me to basically keep the situation the same, then I'm happy to do that. So we're going to ask if they'll send me 2,000. Now, they won't do 2,000, but they may do 1,000. And they did. So basically, we have the same situation we did, just now there's military access. That does kind of work in our favor because maybe their army on our territory will distract a Maratha army that would otherwise be attacking Goa. But that 1,000 gold in my treasury is going to be very nice for us. Thank you, Mr. Aurangzeb the First. Your mustache is very majestic. Thank you. Naturally, our trade agreement with the Confederacy is canceled. Now that's fine because that opens up a sea trade route we can give to a more reliable source. Now I don't know what made the Pope go from very friendly to friendly, but he still has the highest opinion of us, of anybody on this board right now that I don't already have a trade agreement with. So we are going to offer the trade agreement to him, Pope Clement the 11th, and he wants us to pay him. And, you know, I'm all for if you go to church, if you love the Lord, you want to pay your tithes, that's fine. That's your thing. But in the context of this game, I think I'm going to respectfully decline the offer to invest in the Papal State. We're going to go on to our next option, who is the neighbor of the Pope, Genoa, right over here. And we're going to see if they'll have a trade agreement with us. Now, they want us to pay a smaller amount, but now they're not even the Pope asking us for money. So I'm gonna, once again, say no thank you. So we'll jump down here to Venice, because they're the next most friendly, and it's Venice. Come on, the Merchant Republic of Venice. Silvestro Barrio. That is the coolest name I've seen so far in my search for a reliable trade partner. Alright, so let's just see what we can do here. And now he wants more money. So, no thank you. No thank you, good sir. So now, where do we go from here? Yeah, there's still some big names on the board, so you know what? I'm just going to start from the top. Austria. Trade agreement? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Some people know how to do business. All right. Well, that settles that. Now, we need to look at India. So, first thing I'm going to
Em que
do
é que posso ajudar?
is we're going to redeploy our rake
Em
back
movimento.
up here because we're going to need some intelligence. So they've got mostly line infantry with the chevron. Do have some cannons. They do have some lancers. I'm not terrified of these lancers because as long as I don't let them charge me, we'll be okay. Now, because of that, though, I am going to queue up another unit of this provincial cavalry because a good counter to these lancers is going to be some melee cavalry that's going to have more staying power. And if I can catch them in a melee fight, we're going to win that. I just can't let them charge me. Now, this army here is clearly a problem. They've got 2 sets of lancers, another set of cannons, some more line infantry, some melee infantry, which they could be a problem. They are not to be underestimated at all. Yeah, so these guys, we want to make them come to us. Now, honestly, I would really like to attack this army while it's separated from this army, because once these two armies get together, that's gonna be pretty formidable. Now, I'm gonna continue recruiting this one unit of provincial cavalry, because that's gonna be a very good matchup against these lancers if we can catch them in a melee fight and not let them get a good charge on us. These armies consolidated together could be very problematic for us. I'll put it up on the screen what they would look like together just to give an even clearer picture of that. So what I'm going to do is get 2 more units of these Hindu musketeers just because I want to get as much out there on the very next turn as I can, because I don't know if I have more time than that. I would like to have some units with higher morale and ideally another unit of provincial cavalry, but it's going to take 2 turns at the least to make them. So I'm going to get these Hindu musketeers out as quick as possible. Now that leaves me some money to work with here. So I'm actually going to give this fleet 1 more brig, just because it feels right. For some reason, I don't feel quite right about sending this fleet out of the theater, because the first move I'm gonna make is to head down to the Ivory Coast here and attack these pirates that ran me off of the coast. So we're gonna see. So I feel a little better about it if we give ourselves 1 more brig. Our fellas over here still doing just fine. We got some traits that have updated. A couple of mistresses, you know. And you know, the worst thing is they're probably seeing the same lady. It's the same lady, and she's just giving them both the runaround, but they both think that they've got her, you know, in the palm of their hand, you know, whole time she's playing them. And this guy, he's walking around upright because he sees the whole thing playing out. And he's been married, you know, he's always been loyal to his wife. When he sees stuff like this going on, it reminds him why he chooses the simple life and the path of integrity. And you know what? We're going to take a look at this guy, because the man is of poor character and of poor quality. So let's go take a look at him. Mr. Torres. Okay, so this guy he doesn't even have a position. He's part of the opposition. So we just want to keep him from getting involved. If we see him anywhere, in any position of importance, this guy's got the kiss of death. All right? That's all I got to say. Now, moving on, our Navy over here in Goa, I also want to give them 1 more ship. We'll throw them a brig. I'm going to take 1 more look at our income. Now, our income is going up, and that's probably because, yeah, we're getting a lot more trade through. And France is still getting blocked. We're still missing out on our whole trade relationship with France. But our new trade relationship with Austria is very nice for us. They're actually bringing in more than Great Britain, who needs to step it up. I mean, this is getting ridiculous at this point. But they are a long-term partner. They're a long-term partner. So this is having a long-term partner like them. If you're not aware of this mechanic, over time you get this bonus that stacks and continues the longer you have trade relations with a nation. So that's very nice. Even though they're not bringing in that much, the fact they have this is nice, because that's just going to continue to stack longer we can keep this. Also, sugar is climbing in price, which is very nice for us. But on that note, I think we are ready to end this turn and see what happens. See if we get attacked in India. Now this is good. France is going to get the British out of their port. If you got the Strait of Gibraltar, might as well sail through it, I guess, even if it's just one boat. Yeah, walk across it too. That's fine. Okay, now they've consolidated those armies like I expected them to do. They've got a little bit of an army there. I'd like to see more from them. Okay, well there's more, but not much more. Y'all going in the same direction. Why not just walk together? I mean, they got armies all over, but it's just 3 stacks. They're not really consolidated. Okay, now the Maratha Confederacy is at war with Mysore. Now that they've given us another turn here, now I'm going to try to get us some slightly higher quality troops. Now these guys aren't a whole lot better than the Hindu musketeers. They're still considered a militia, but the thing is their morale is 3 points higher. And their range and accuracy is the same. They're a little bit better at reloading. So I'm gonna queue up 2 units of them. And 1 more unit of Provincial Cav, of course. This fleet is done recruiting for the time being. I am going to take advantage of this opportunity. Our income dipped down a little bit there, but our trade income is up over 4,000. Again, we're still not getting the benefit from our trade with the French. Hopefully that opens up soon. Not much I can do about it right now, except complain every turn when I look at it. But now this fleet is recruited as far as I want to recruit it for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and send them straight down here to the south. Next turn, they should be able to reach the theater and head to the Ivory Coast. We're still chilling in Brazil and dominating the sugar trade. So we're going to have this fleet blockade the Maratha port here because we want to cut off their trade profits. This is going to make a big dent on their revenue next turn. Now, if we look at Lisbon here, our population is declining. Now, I've given it a few turns, not worrying about these villages growing, but now I'm gonna come over here and take a look at this. So, we're not gonna exempt them from tax, but I'm gonna lower it enough that we're at least not gonna be losing population every turn. Now, I'm gonna put the taxes here. It's gonna bring our income down a little bit, but it's okay. I'm saving some money right here. So this is kind of offsetting that effectively for us next turn. And this is gonna be more valuable for us, not letting this population decline happen. We want it to be growing, and we'll put these taxes back up soon. But for the time being, that's what we're gonna do. Next turn, these vineyards are gonna be done, and also this research here is gonna be done, which means we're gonna be able to start on land enclosures. And now that's important to us because these vineyards are gonna add to our population growth and to our region wealth. It's gonna make our people happier, meaning they're gonna be able to tolerate higher taxes. The next level of this building is just going to take that even further. So our early strategy's coming together. And so on that note, we're gonna end this turn. The more boring Spain is right now, the better for me. Venice has a really cool flag. I really wanted to trade with them, man. They went down. Okay, now we have finished our research. Good. Our vineyard is constructed, a farm dedicated to the growing of grapes and the production of wine on a relatively small scale. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Thank goodness. Now, we can upgrade our school here. And I am absolutely going to do that. I'm going to immediately upgrade this college. Something about me, just as a gamer, any strategy game like this, where technology and research is involved, just part of my style has always been trying to get ahead in that. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Now, one more turn and we'll have some infantry or infrastructure upgrades done. Excuse me. Our garrison here still looking nice and cheap, just how I like it. Now, this fleet can continue down this way. We're not quite going to make it to the theater yet, which is unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure these pirates and the French fleet just fought out here. I don't know who won. If the French won, then good. That means the pirates are gone. We can send some trade ships at these trade ports. If the pirates won, sucks to be the French. At least the pirates would have taken some damage in the battle, and that's going to help us out once we do get there and fight them. Now, if they kicked us out of this port, that's fine.
Sim, sim, senhor.
I'm just gonna hop right on this trade route.
À espera de novas ordens.
Now, we got one more turn until our recruitment is done here. And then we're gonna take a look and evaluate the situation here with their armies and see if we can take advantage of a weakness. Brazil is still uneventful, and that is just how I want it to be right now. Now, here in Lisbon, I'm not going to go crazy, not going to do a whole lot, but I am going to drop some of this extra gold we have at the end of this turn on a regiment of line infantry. Just one, just because the people of Portugal deserve to know they have at least one unit of guys, one regiment of guys with blue uniforms, looking sharp, ready to surrender to anyone that shows up. We want to at least present a good face when we go to surrender. And these blue uniforms, they're going to look really good with the white flags that we'll be waving as we approach whoever decides to attack us here. Okay. All jokes aside, we'll look at our income. It's still up around 4,000. That's not bad. Our trade income, it's still going up. Then check this out. We lost Great Britain, but we gained a France. And that's fine. So, like I said, once we get both of them going at the same time, this is going to be nice for us. And once I'm able to get more trade ships out, this is just going to expand. I want this to absolutely explode. Like, I want these screens to just be covered. Like, that's going to be our main strength as Portugal. You see, this is all coming from those two fleets in Brazil. This is just the beginning of what I see happening here for us. Also, I want to take a look and see if I can just get a peace agreement with them. What will it take for peace? If I just ask, will they do it? No. He called us unschooled monkeys. That's fine. That's fine. If I request peace, what if I just offer 1,000? Can I just pay them 1,000? I'm honestly willing to spend this 1,000 right here to not have to worry about them right now. I am perfectly happy with that. And then I will immediately stab them in the back at the first opportunity. Let's see. Okay, well, they won't take 1,000. I'm not going to give them more. So it doesn't matter. All right, on that note, nothing else for us to do. Still stomping around outside of London. Got to get the French out of their port. The Dutch moving a fleet. I forgot that the Dutch were at war with Spain. So that's going on. Uh-oh. It might be time. little naval battle out there. The Knights of St. John handling business. All right. There's something about this region right here, this road between, I think it's Hindustan and wherever they were going. It's so pleasant. I just want to walk that path for some reason. And Venice's flag, it just looks like it would be such a warm blanket. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe not. I feel like, no, it makes sense. Infrastructure. Done. We got some cobbled roads. Look at that. And we also beefed up our forces here in India. Which is good because look at who's on the way. Dilip Hanchanti. They've got 2 cannons. They got guns and cannons. They've got some Hindu warriors. Let's see. Let's get our rig a little closer. I wanna. Oh, you know what? Let's just get him in here. Let's. What are we talking about? Get in there, Adriano. Attaboy. He's in there. Okay. Good job. Okay, so some of their numbers are depleted, but this is still a pretty healthy army. They're still pretty solid. I'm not too worried about the cannons and the guns. So they have 1 more unit than I do. But 2 of their units are cannons. And so if I can kind of render them obsolete and also render these cavalry obsolete, then it's going to be much easier for me to deal with all this line infantry. But this core of line infantry that they have is going to be pretty stout, and I have to respect that. Now, this isn't going to be easy, but I think I have a good chance of winning this, especially if I catch them out here, because if I wait, there's a chance that they send this army to attack me, and then they send another army to reinforce. At least right now, I know I can attack this army and have an isolated matchup against them. Now, they do not have a general, and I do, so that's going to give me a morale advantage, which is going to be nice. Okay, now, unfortunately, apparently I did miscalculate, and they will have some reinforcements coming in. But I'm not super threatened by them. I mean, this is missile cav. It's a lot more cavalry, and some more guns. I don't think the guns are going to be that much of an issue, especially since they're reinforcing. They're going to have to move in off the map. I do want to be looking for opportunities if I can isolate these armies from each other and not fight them both at the same time. We will see. Now, I wanted to keep this first episode under an hour, so this is going to be our stopping point for episode 1. Episode 2 is going to start right off with this battle right here. First battle of the campaign. Could go either way. With that in mind, we're going to go ahead and save our current game here in the winter of 1691. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, we're just getting started here. And I hope you tune in for episode 2 to see how this first battle goes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.